Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping into the incredibly high-stakes world of strategic management and global risk prediction. If you've ever wondered how the biggest companies in the world make their most critical billion-dollar decisions, well, you're in exactly the right place. Get ready, because we are breaking down the absolute foundational frameworks that keep the global economy turning. Okay, let's dive right into this. How do multinational corporations predict massive global risks and opportunities before expanding into a brand new country? It's a massive question. Imagine you're an executive sitting in a boardroom, right? And you are about to sign off on a multi-billion-dollar international expansion. You aren't just looking at a map on the wall. You're looking at potential political upheavals, totally unexpected economic shifts, and completely unfamiliar social landscapes. How in the world do you predict the unpredictable? Well, here's our roadmap for figuring that out. First, predicting massive global risks. Second, we'll get into the PESTEL framework itself. Third, the 6 factors of external analysis. Fourth, we'll look at a really fascinating case study on Disney's expansion. And finally, shaping corporate strategy. Let's kick things off with Section 1, predicting massive global risks. Think about the immense danger here, guys. The stakes of global expansion are unimaginably high. We're talking about colossal financial investments, thousands of jobs, and the very reputation of a global brand hanging in the balance. Going in blind? It's literally not an option in modern business. You absolutely have to see the big picture before making huge investments. That is the fundamental goal here. It's actually shockingly common for executives to get so hyper-focused on a microscopic product detail, perfecting a design or tweaking some marketing copy, that they completely miss the massive macro-environmental warning signs brewing right outside their windows. Before a single dollar is spent or a single brick is laid in a new international market, leadership needs a comprehensive, high-altitude view of exactly what they're walking into. Which brings us to Section 2, the PESTEL framework revealed. Now, what's really interesting about this is how executives actually go about getting that big picture. They don't just use a crystal ball. They rely on a highly rigorous external analysis tool. PESTEL is, at its core, a macro-environmental framework. Basically, it forces decision-makers to look completely outside the 4 walls of their own company and analyze the broader external forces that could either make their new venture a massive success or an absolute disaster. So, instead of focusing internally on things like supply chains or profit margins, this tool intentionally zooms out. It acts as the ultimate risk prediction weapon to help you understand the completely uncontrollable forces at play in a target country. Let's move into Section 3, the 6 factors of external analysis. So, what exactly are we looking at when we zoom out like that? Here's the sequence of the 6 macro-environmental pillars that actually make up the acronym. Step 1 is political. This means anticipating sudden tariff changes, shifting trade agreements, or even government instability that could literally freeze your assets overnight. Step 2 is economic. You're evaluating how local inflation rates, unemployment, or shifting currency exchanges might suddenly wipe out your profit margins. Step 3 is social. This is all about understanding demographic shifts or deeply ingrained cultural trends that dictate consumer behavior. Step 4, technological. Gauging the state of a nation's broadband infrastructure or their local appetite for innovation. Step 5 is environmental, factoring in climate risks, carbon footprint regulations, or natural resource availability. And finally, Step 6 is legal, navigating the absolute maze of local labor laws, antitrust regulations, and consumer safety standards. These 6 external factors form the ultimate checklist every single multinational corporation has to run through before making a move. Let's see how this builds in the real world with Section 4, case study on Disney's expansion. Operating a domestic theme park is a known entity for a company like Disney. They understand their home economy, they know the federal legal landscape, and American social expectations are perfectly clear to them. But the second you step into international markets, you strip away that highly controlled environment. It plunges them into a sea of macro-environmental unknowns. Going abroad means they can't rely on their institutional memory anymore. They have to actively analyze brand new variables completely from scratch. The really crucial point here is that Disney executives didn't just throw a dart at a map and guess. They meticulously used external analysis to weigh the risks and opportunities before executing their international expansions. And to be honest, they kind of had to learn this the hard way. For instance, when assessing the social pillar for what would eventually become Disneyland Paris, they initially miscalculated deeply rooted European dining habits regarding alcohol and leisurely meals. That misstep eventually forced a massive operational pivot. Fast forward years later, when executing their expansion into China, they applied these lessons super rigorously. For the political and legal pillars in Shanghai, the environment required unprecedented joint ventures with state-owned enterprises, which completely changed their standard operational model. They utilized every single piece of the PESTEL framework to evaluate these brand new countries and adapt their business accordingly.
And that perfectly tees up Section 5, Shaping Corporate Strategy. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact relationship between academic theory and real-world boardroom action. There's a direct pipeline between analysis and execution, the rigorous process of predicting risks and opportunities. That external analysis directly dictates the corporate strategy of making those huge investments. You simply cannot effectively map out a corporate strategy to build a massive international theme park, or really any major project, if you haven't first done the external analysis to ensure the global environment will actually support it. Think of the analysis as the foundation, and the strategy is the house built on top of it. It really all boils down to the singular, powerful realization. External analysis shapes corporate strategy. That is the absolute core thesis derived straight from the source material. By thoroughly investigating the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors, executives are able to mold their corporate actions to fit the reality of the real world. Predicting the macro environment is exactly what prevents catastrophic failure when you're expanding into brand new countries. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought. We know PESTEL is an incredibly powerful tool for seeing the big picture. But can any framework truly predict every global risk? I mean, can 6 categories really account for every single unforeseen twist and turn in international business? It's a fascinating question for you to ponder as you continue exploring the depths of macro-environmental strategy. Thank you so much for joining me today, and as always, keep learning.